My dear friends, let me begin today with something very simple yet very real. Not everyone who smiles at you is happy for you. Sometimes, the brighter your light shines, the more it hurts the eyes of those still sitting in the dark. And that's okay. Not everyone who dislikes you is your enemy. Some are simply threatened by your growth. You see, in life, as you begin to evolve, as you start walking a little differently, talking a little more confidently, and thinking a little more positively, people begin to notice the change. And not everyone knows how to handle that. Some people don't hate you, they just hate the reflection of what they could be if they tried a little harder. It's not your success that bothers them, it's the reminder of their own stagnation. When your light shines brightly, it doesn't create darkness for anyone else. But for those who haven't yet found their own light, your glow can feel like a threat. Think about this when you start improving yourself. Whether it's in your career, your fitness, your mindset, or even your peace. The same people who once supported your goals may start questioning you. They might say, "You've changed," or "You're acting different." But isn't that the whole point of growth? To change, to evolve, to become better than yesterday. Yet, many people are uncomfortable with change, not because they don't want you to grow, but because your growth reminds them that they haven't moved. It challenges their comfort zone. It shakes their self-image. It awakens the guilt that maybe they too should have tried harder. Imagine you are a young professional who once hung out every weekend gossiping, wasting hours, scrolling endlessly on your phone. One day you decide to use your evenings differently. To read, to work on your dreams, to wake up early, to exercise. At first, your friends laugh. They say, "Come on, one day won't make a difference." But then days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into results. You start achieving things that they only talk about. Suddenly, their laughter turns into silence, and silence slowly becomes whispers. They'll say you got lucky, or you changed, or you're arrogant now. But what's really happening is not hate, it's fear. Fear that if you can change, they no longer have an excuse not to. In school, at work, or even in families, this pattern repeats. The moment you start standing out, people's true feelings surface. The colleague who smiled at you yesterday might feel uneasy when you're praised by the boss. The cousin who always called you lazy might go quiet when you buy your first car. The classmate who said you'd never make it might suddenly criticize your success. But remember this, they're not your enemies. They're human beings who haven't yet learned to celebrate others because they're still fighting their own battles of comparison and insecurity. When a flower blooms, it doesn't look around to see if the other flowers approve. It just blooms. And because it blooms, it attracts bees, sunshine, and rain. Similarly, when you grow, you attract both admiration and resistance. But your job is not to shrink to make others comfortable. Your job is to keep blooming. Here's another real life truth. Success, confidence, and peace often expose fake friendships and shallow support. The moment you start living differently, people will test you, they'll provoke you, they'll misunderstand you, and they'll judge your motives. But that's when you must stay rooted in who you are. Don't waste your energy trying to explain your growth to those committed to misunderstanding it. The ones meant for your journey will understand your silence. There's a story of a crab bucket. When one crab tries to climb out, the others pull it back down. It's not because they hate that crab, but because that's all they know, to stay where they are. People can be like that too. They may try to pull you back into the gossip, the laziness, the negativity, just because they don't know how to rise themselves. But you, my friend, were not born to stay in the bucket. You were born to climb out, to rise higher, to set an example that maybe, just maybe, others will follow once they see it's possible. In your journey, you'll meet three kinds of people: those who inspire you, those who support you, and those who test you. The ones who inspire you will lift your spirit. The ones who support you will walk beside you. And the ones who test you will shape your strength. So even when people dislike you, thank them silently, because they're teaching you how to stand firm, how to stay humble, and how to rise without approval. Remember, growth is not a group activity. It's a solo path filled with quiet sacrifices and lonely victories. You don't need validation from people who haven't walked your road. When they doubt you, keep going. When they laugh at you, smile. When they distance themselves, keep working. Because one day, your results will speak so loudly that their opinions will no longer matter. And when that day comes, when you look back and see how far you've come, you'll realize that every bit of dislike, every misunderstanding, and every judgment was just part of your story. They weren't your enemies. They were your silent teachers, pushing you closer to your purpose. So, don't be discouraged when people dislike you. Take it as a sign that you're moving forward, that your growth is visible, and that your journey is real. After all, only moving trains attract noise. The ones standing still never do. Let people talk, let them assume, let them feel threatened. Because deep down, you know you're not competing with them. You're becoming the best version of yourself. And that, my friend, is something no hate can ever stop. You said, expnd2 and 80 more words that people will inspire from these words from daily life example. Make it lengthy. In 800 words, don't add further key points. Don't add headings. ChatGPT said, hate is often disguised admiration, confused and fueled by insecurity. It's one of the most surprising truths about human behavior. Many times, the people who criticize you the loudest are the ones secretly inspired by you. Their harsh words are not a reflection of your flaws, but of their own frustration that they couldn't find in themselves what they see shining in you. They want what you have: the courage, the discipline, the peace, the confidence. But instead of learning from you, their ego chooses to fight you. Think about how many times in life people have hated something they didn't understand. A student who works hard in silence becomes the target of jokes. A person who stays focused and avoids drama is labeled as arrogant. Someone who chooses peace over arguments is called weak. But beneath those judgments lies confusion, a deep conflict within others. They admire your control, but resent that they don't have it. They respect your progress, but can't admit it because it reminds them of what they are not doing. Imagine a young man named Rahul. He comes from a small town and starts his career with nothing but determination. He works long hours, learns every skill he can, and slowly begins to succeed. People notice, some congratulate him, while others whisper, he must have connections, or he's showing off. But behind those words lies admiration turned sour by insecurity. They see his dedication, but instead of being inspired, they choose to criticize because it's easier to hate than to improve. It's easier to point fingers than to look in the mirror. The truth is, admiration and envy are very close cousins. They start from the same place, recognition of someone's greatness. But while admiration leads to motivation, envy leads to bitterness. Those who admire will say, if they can do it, I can too. Those who envy will say, they think they're better than me. The difference lies not in what they see, but in what they feel about themselves. When people feel small, someone else's light feels blinding. You might have experienced this in your own life. Maybe you decided to eat healthy, exercise, and change your lifestyle. Instead of support, you heard comments like, you've become too health obsessed, or why are you wasting time on this? The truth is, your discipline reminded them of their excuses. Your transformation showed them what they could be if they chose differently. But since they didn't, it's easier for them to mock your effort than to admit their fear of trying. Even in families, this happens. Sometimes your relatives won't cheer for your achievements, not because they don't love you, but because your success confronts their comfort. They spent years doing things a certain way, and now your results challenge their belief that life is unfair. You become living proof that effort and faith can change things. And when people are not ready to change themselves, they often attack what threatens their comfort. It's just human nature. When people feel powerless, they look for ways to regain control. So when someone rises above them, they try to pull them down with criticism. But behind that criticism is a quiet voice that says, I wish I had the courage to do what they're doing. That's why you should never let hate make you bitter. Because if you look closer, hate is nothing but admiration in pain. Remember how children react when they see someone with a toy they want. They might say, I don't like that toy, even though deep down they want it. Adults do the same. They just hide it behind words and attitude. When someone says, you're too ambitious, what they really mean is, I wish I had your drive. When someone says, you're lucky, they're actually saying, I wish I had your consistency. The beautiful part is that once you understand this, you stop taking hate personally. You start seeing it for what it is, a mirror reflecting someone else's insecurity, not your identity. Instead of reacting with anger, you respond with compassion. You realize they're not your enemy. They're just struggling with their own self-worth. Let me tell you something. The more you succeed, the more you'll trigger this kind of reaction. It's not because you're doing something wrong, but because you're reminding people of what's possible. The higher you rise, the more visible you become, and the more visible you are, the easier it is for people to project their pain onto you. But your job is not to dim your light, it's to shine anyway. Because those who truly admire you will eventually find the courage to turn their jealousy into inspiration. There was once a young artist who kept painting despite criticism. People said his art was useless, his dreams unrealistic. Years later, when he became successful, Those same people said, "We always knew you'd make it." That's how life works. Hate transforms into respect once your results can't be denied. But you don't have to wait for that moment to feel peace. Feel it now. Because their opinion of you doesn't define your worth, it only reveals their perspective. So, the next time someone mocks your progress, smile gently. Don't argue, don't explain. Understand that their words are not weapons, they're confessions. Confessions of fear, insecurity, and hidden admiration. You've become the example they're too afraid to follow. Keep doing what you're doing. Let them talk, let them assume, let them hate, because hate, in its rawest form, is just love that lost its way. It's admiration that got tangled in ego. And when you stay humble, kind, and focused, even your haters will learn something from you. One day, they'll realize the truth. They never really hated you. They just wished they had the courage to become more like you. Don't respond to negativity. Silence is a powerful teacher. In a world that reacts to everything, silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. When people misunderstand you, insult you, or try to bring you down, your instinct might be to fight back, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But the truth is, not every battle deserves your energy. Sometimes, the most powerful response is no response at all. Silence doesn't mean you agree with them. It means you refuse to lower yourself to their level. It's the art of staying peaceful in the middle of chaos. Think of how fire behaves. It grows stronger when you feed it oxygen, but it dies when you deprive it of air. The same is true for negativity. When you argue with someone who's already decided not to understand you, you're giving oxygen to their drama. You're feeding their fire. But when you stay silent, when you don't react, that fire slowly fades out because there's nothing to fuel it. There's a story about a wise monk. One day, a man came to him and began shouting, calling him names, trying to provoke him. The monk stood quietly and said nothing. After some time, the man ran out of words and walked away, frustrated. A disciple who had been watching asked the monk, "Master, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you defend yourself?" The monk smiled and said, "If someone gives you a gift and you don't accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The disciple replied, "To the one who offered it." The monk said, "Exactly. His anger is his gift. I chose not to accept it." That's what silence does. It protects your peace. It allows you to choose your battles. Not every comment deserves your reply. Not every insult deserves your explanation. And not every opinion deserves your attention. When people try to pull you into their storm, show them that you live in your calm. Because silence doesn't mean you're defeated. It means you've risen above the fight. In everyday life, this lesson becomes even more important. Maybe you've been through moments where someone spread rumors about you, criticized your work, or mocked your dreams. Your first reaction might have been anger, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But over time, you learn that the more you explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, the more you drain your own energy. You can spend hours trying to justify your intentions, and they'll still twist your words. But when you stay silent and keep working, your results will do the talking. Imagine a workplace situation. Someone takes credit for your effort or gossips about you behind your back. You're tempted to confront them, to expose the truth. But instead, you choose silence and focus on your work. Days turn into weeks, and your dedication speaks louder than their lies. Eventually, the same people who doubted you start to notice your consistency. Your silence wasn't a surrender, it was a strategy. Because people forget what you say in an argument, but they remember what you prove with your actions. Silence is also a reflection of emotional maturity. When you reach a point where you no longer need to react to every little thing, it means you've gained control over yourself. The strongest person in the room isn't the one who shouts the loudest. It's the one who can listen, stay calm, and choose not to react. Because true strength isn't in showing power, it's in showing restraint. Social media has made it even harder to stay silent. Everyone wants to have the last word, to prove a point, to win an argument online. But wisdom lies in realizing that not every voice deserves your response. You don't have to fight every false opinion. Let people think what they want. Time will reveal the truth. You can't teach sense to those who aren't ready to learn. Silence also teaches people how to treat you. When you react to everything, people learn that they can control your emotions. But when you stay calm, they realize they have no power over you. That's when real freedom begins, when you no longer let someone's negativity control your peace. Silence builds dignity. It makes people wonder what gives you that level of calm when they expected chaos. It confuses those who wanted to disturb you, and it inspires those who wanted to become like you. Think of nature. Does the sun argue with the clouds when they try to block its light? No. It simply keeps shining until the clouds move away. In the same way, when people try to cover your light with negativity, don't fight them, just keep shining. Eventually, their clouds will pass and your light will remain. Even in relationships, silence can be more powerful than words. When someone hurts you, your silence can say, "I value my peace more than proving you wrong." It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you're wise enough to know that some situations are better handled by time than by talk. Silence allows space for healing, reflection, and clarity, things arguments often destroy. In your life, there will always be people who misunderstand your silence as weakness. Let them. You don't owe anyone constant explanations. You owe yourself peace. There's a difference between silence born out of fear and silence born out of strength. The first hides, the second understands. Choose the second, because when you learn to be silent, you don't just avoid unnecessary conflict. You become a mirror that reflects people's true intentions. You start seeing who's genuinely interested in peace and who thrives on drama, and that clarity is priceless. So the next time someone tries to drag you into negativity, remember this: silence doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough not to waste your energy. Let your calmness be the loudest statement you ever make. One day, the same people who tried to provoke, you will realize that your silence wasn't emptiness. It was power, the kind of power that only peaceful hearts can understand. Consistency turns doubt into respect. Keep doing your work. It's one of the most beautiful truths in life. People may doubt you at first. They may question your dreams. They may laugh at your efforts. But when you stay consistent, their laughter fades and turns into silence, And that silence slowly becomes respect. Because consistency is something few people understand, but everyone admires. It's not the loudest quality, it's the quiet strength that builds empires. When you start something new, a project, a goal, a dream, the beginning is always filled with noise. Everyone has an opinion. Some say you can't do it. Some say it's a waste of time. Some even say you're not capable. But as days turn into months and months turn into years, your consistency begins to speak louder than their opinions. Because talk is cheap, but showing up every single day, that's rare. Think of a small seed. You plant it in the soil, water it every day, and for weeks nothing happens. People might pass by and say, "Why are you wasting your time?" But you keep watering it anyway. And then one day, a small green shoot breaks through the soil. That's what consistency does. It turns invisible effort into visible results. And once that happens, the same people who doubted you start asking, "How did you do it?" They see the success, but forget the silent struggle behind it. Take any great artist, athlete, or leader. Their talent gave them a start, but their consistency made them great. Because talent can open a door, but only discipline can keep it open. The world forgets quickly, but consistent effort forces it to remember you. When you show up every day, even when it's hard, even when no one believes in you, you start building something that no one can take away: your credibility. In daily life, this truth is everywhere. A student who studies a little every day learns more than the one who crams everything in one night. A person who saves a small amount every month ends up with more stability than the one who waits for a miracle. A professional who improves 1% every week grows faster than the one who works hard only when motivated. Because consistency doesn't rely on mood, it relies on commitment. When you first start your journey, people will doubt you because they can't see what you see. They don't understand your vision, and that's fine. It's not their job to see it, it's yours to show it. And you show it not by arguing, but by doing. Every single day, through every small step, you're proving something to yourself, that you can be trusted with your own dreams. Because consistency isn't about impressing others, it's about proving to yourself that you won't give up this time. Imagine a young woman named Aisha. She dreams of becoming a writer. Every night after her job, she writes for 1 hour. Her friends go out, her family says it's just a hobby, but she keeps going. Weeks pass, then months. She posts her stories online. At first, no one reads them, but she doesn't stop. One day, a publisher notices her work. Her book gets published, and it becomes a success. People suddenly say, "You're lucky." But luck had nothing to do with it. Her consistency turned invisible effort into visible success. Life works the same way for all of us. The world may not clap for you today, but if you keep working, one day it won't be able to ignore you, because results are the loudest noise you can make. When you stay consistent, your actions start building a reputation that even your critics can't deny. The people who once doubted you will have no choice but to respect you. They might not say it out loud, but deep down, they'll know you earned it. Consistency also builds something much more valuable than success. It builds character. It teaches you patience. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to keep going when no one is watching. Because it's easy to be motivated when everything is going well, but real strength is doing your best even when no one notices, even when you feel unseen. That's when consistency becomes faith, faith that every drop of effort counts, even when the results take time. Think about a pot of water placed on fire. For a long time, nothing seems to happen. The water looks calm, but inside it's slowly heating up. Then suddenly, it starts to boil. That's what consistency is like. Every small effort adds heat, adds pressure, adds energy. And one day, your hard work reaches its boiling point. The point where change becomes visible. But you never reach that stage if you keep switching the flame on and off. In relationships, in careers, in personal growth, the principle is the same. Consistency builds trust. Whether it's between two people or between you and your dreams, showing up regularly creates faith. When you're consistent, people know you mean what you say. They know your word has weight. They begin to respect your reliability. It's easy to get discouraged when progress feels slow. But remember, great things don't happen overnight. A mountain isn't formed in a day, nor is character. Every sunrise you wake up and try again. Every failure you learn from. Every setback you push through. That's what shapes you. Those quiet moments of effort, those days when no one notices you're still trying, that's where greatness is born. So, keep doing your work. Don't stop because people doubt you. Let their doubt be your fuel. Don't wait for applause. Let your persistence be your reward. The path may be long and the journey lonely, but one day, those same people who didn't believe in you will look at you with respect. And they'll say, "You never stopped." That's the power of consistency. It doesn't demand attention, but it always earns it. It doesn't chase respect, but it always receives it. Keep doing your work quietly, faithfully, and wholeheartedly. Because sooner or later, consistency turns every doubt into applause, every criticism into admiration, and every ordinary life into an extraordinary story. Your peace is not dependent on people's opinions. It's an inside job. The moment you start realizing this, your entire life begins to change. For so long, many of us live as prisoners of other people's thoughts. We smile when they approve, and we break when they criticize. We start adjusting our words, our looks, our dreams, and even our identity just to be liked. But peace, my friend, does not come from being liked. It comes from being real. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, you start discovering a calm that no one can take away from you. From the moment we're young, we're taught to care about what others think. Parents say, "What will people say?" Teachers say, "Don't embarrass yourself." Society whispers, "Be normal." And slowly, without realizing it, we begin to perform. We wear masks. We hide our true selves behind expectations. But no matter how hard you try, you can never make everyone happy. You could be the kindest, most hardworking, most sincere person in the world, and still, someone somewhere will find a reason to dislike you. That's the truth. You can't control what people think about you, but you can control how much you let it affect your peace. Imagine you're walking through a market holding an ice cream. One person says, "You're wasting money on junk." Another says, "That flavor isn't good." A third says, "You should have bought mine instead." Now, if you listen to all of them, you'll never enjoy your ice cream. That's what life is like. People will always have opinions, but your peace depends on which ones you listen to. You can't stop people from talking, but you can stop yourself from giving their words power over your mood. There's a story of a farmer and his son who went to the market with their donkey. At first, the farmer walked while the son rode the donkey. People said, "How rude! The young boy rides while the old man walks." So they switched places. Now the farmer rode while the son walked. People then said, "How cruel! The father enjoys the ride while the young boy suffers." So they both rode the donkey. Others said, "Poor animal! Two people on one donkey!" So they both got off and walked beside it. Then people laughed. "Look at these fools walking when they have a donkey." The moral is simple. No matter what you do, someone will always have something to say. If you live for their opinions, you'll never live at all. True peace begins when you stop chasing everyone's approval, when you realize that your worth doesn't fluctuate with someone else's judgment. You are not what they say about you. You are what you know about yourself. And the truth is, most people don't even know you. They only know their version of you, a version filtered through their own insecurities and assumptions. So why give so much importance to opinions built on misunderstandings? Think of a calm lake. Throw a stone in it, and ripples appear, but only for a while. Soon the surface becomes still again. That's what inner peace feels like. Life will throw stones, criticism, gossip, jealousy. But when your peace comes from within, you return to calm quickly. You don't need to prove your worth, you simply know it. In daily life, this shows up everywhere. Maybe you post something on social media and someone leaves a rude comment. Maybe you wear something different and people whisper. Maybe you choose a career your relatives don't understand. Every time this happens, you face a choice. Will you trade your peace for their opinion, or will you stay true to yourself? The truth is, people's opinions are like passing clouds. They come, they go, and they have nothing to do with the sky. You are the sky, vast, still, and unaffected. There's a reason why peaceful people seem powerful. Because they don't react to everything. They know that the more you depend on others for happiness, the more fragile you become. But when you build your happiness from the inside, no storm can shake it. Peace doesn't come when everyone agrees with you. It comes when you no longer need them to. Maybe you've been judged for your choices, your career, your lifestyle, your silence, your ambition. Maybe you've lost people because you stopped trying to please them. That's okay, because peace often begins the moment you stop explaining yourself. You don't need to convince anyone who's determined not to understand you. Let them talk. Let them assume. Let them misjudge. The ones who truly know you don't need explanations, and the ones who don't will never believe them anyway. One of the hardest lessons in life is learning that it's not your job to make everyone like you. You can be the sweetest fruit on the tree, and someone will still say they don't like fruit. When you stop trying to control how others see you, you free yourself. You start focusing on living instead of performing. And slowly, you begin to realize that peace isn't the absence of noise. It's the ability to stay calm even in the middle of it. There's a quiet strength that comes with inner peace. When you stop reacting to every opinion, people notice. They can no longer manipulate you with approval or hurt you with criticism. You become centered, rooted like a tree that doesn't bend every time the wind blows. You listen, you observe, you stay grounded. That's real power, not the ability to shout louder, but the ability to stay silent and steady when others expect you to break. So stop living for likes, for applause, for validation. Start living for peace, for purpose, for truth. Because when your peace is dependent on others, it can be taken away in a second. But when it comes from within, no one can touch it. You become untouchable, not because you don't care, but because you finally understand what truly matters. At the end of the day, people will always talk, but your peace, your happiness, your sense of self, that's your responsibility. Protect it, build it, cherish it. The more you trust your inner voice, the quieter the world's noise becomes. And that's when you truly begin to live, not for them, but for yourself. Haters are free promoters. They spread your name even when they speak against you. It's strange but true. The more they talk about you, the more attention they give to you. The more they try to pull you down, the higher they unknowingly lift your name up. The truth is, people don't talk about those who don't matter. They talk about those who make them feel something, those who make them think, question, or envy. When you start to do something different, something meaningful, something that stands out, you naturally attract attention. Some will support you, others will try to stop you, but all of them, knowingly or not, are helping you grow. In this world, silence rarely creates noise. It's movement that does. When you start walking toward your dreams, people will start watching. And when they watch, they'll talk. Some will say good things, others will twist your story. But whether it's good or bad, they are giving you what every brand in the world spends millions for: free publicity. They are making your name known. The ones who speak behind your back are still putting your name in rooms you've never entered. That's not a reason to be angry, that's a reason to be grateful. Think about celebrities, leaders, or creators, people who've achieved something extraordinary. Every one of them has faced criticism. Some were called crazy, some arrogant, some fake. But all that noise did one thing: it spread their story. People who never met them began to know their names. And eventually, that noise turned into curiosity, and curiosity turned into admiration. Even those who once mocked them started quoting them. That's how life works. Those who throw stones at you today will one day walk on the path you went with those same stones. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you open a small bakery in your neighborhood. You bake with love, stay up late, and create something new. Soon, your bakery starts getting attention. People enjoy your food, and your small business begins to grow. Then suddenly, someone says, they're overcharging, or it's not that special. But what happens next? People who hear those words start thinking, what's this bakery everyone's talking about? And they come to see for themselves. Your critics just did you a favor. They promoted your business for free. That's what haters do. They become your unintentional marketers. Even in personal life, it happens. You might decide to take a different path. Maybe you start focusing on self-growth, leaving behind gossip, drama, and negativity. Suddenly, people who once called you their friend say, "You've changed." They talk behind your back, trying to define your new version through old stories. But what they don't realize is that their gossip is carrying your name into more ears than you ever could. They're building your presence while you stay focused on your growth. And in the long run, truth always finds its way to the surface. When people talk about you, it means you're doing something noticeable. It means you're standing out. The world doesn't gossip about those who remain ordinary. It only talks about those who dare to be different. So the next time you hear someone talking behind your back, smile. It means you're ahead, because no one talks about those who are behind them. People only look up when they're watching someone rise. There's a saying, if people are talking about you, you must be doing something right. You see, haters give you free lessons, free marketing, and free motivation all at once. They teach you resilience because their words test your strength. They promote you by spreading your name, and they motivate you by reminding you that your actions are visible enough to make noise. Think about social media influencers. Many of them face criticism daily. Some people comment negatively on their posts, question their authenticity, or make fun of their content. Yet those same comments increase engagement, reach, and visibility. The algorithm doesn't care whether it's love or hate. It just sees activity. The more they talk, the more your message spreads. Isn't that powerful? Even negativity can become a tool if you know how to handle it with grace. The trick is to never let their noise enter your heart. You can hear it, you can notice it, but don't carry it. Because their words say more about them than about you. People who are truly happy don't spend time tearing others down. Their criticism is just a reflection of their own insecurity, their own frustration that they didn't have the courage to do what you're doing. Instead of getting upset, thank them in silence, because without realizing it, they're making you stronger and more visible. There was once a man who made beautiful pottery. His pieces were unique, colorful, and full of life. One day, a few critics said, "Your designs are too bold, they'll never sell." But instead of being discouraged, he kept creating. Slowly, people began to notice his work. The same critics who mocked him earlier started saying, "We always knew he'd make it big." He smiled quietly, knowing that even their criticism had contributed to his fame. Because every time they mentioned his name, they kept his art alive in conversations. That's what happens when you rise above hate. You turn it into energy. You turn words meant to break you into bricks that build your legacy. You stop running from criticism and start using it as confirmation that you're on the right path. The louder the noise, the closer you are to success. So don't waste time defending yourself. Don't lower your energy to explain your worth to those committed to misunderstanding you. Let them talk. Let them spread your name. Let them do their free marketing while you focus on your mission. Because the truth is, you don't need everyone to love you. You just need to keep doing your work with passion and integrity. The right people will find you, the world will notice, and even your haters will become silent witnesses to your success. At the end of the day, the world remembers results, not rumors. The more you rise, the more they'll talk, and the more they talk, the more visible you become. So instead of being offended, be thankful. Because without even realizing it, your haters are your loudest advertisers. They keep your name alive while you quietly build your future. And when success finally arrives, you won't need to say a single word. Their noise will turn into applause.